Hello, and welcome to Connor versus Cobb. It's a podcast. I'm Ryan Connor.
I'm Nick Cobb.
There, you nailed it.
You happy about that?
I'm thrilled. I am in Northern Virginia at my mom and stepdad's house, and they live in a 55 and older community. It's great here. Everyone's super friendly. There's a community gym on her corner. I go to that. And in coming here, I used to work out like a maniac until COVID happened. I used to play in multiple sports leagues, and then COVID happened, and I was like, wait a minute, I haven't been injured in a year. This is great. Stop playing in leagues, injury stop. Also stopped doing crazy lifting. I had heavy kettlebells at my house. I sold them all a few months ago, and I was like, I'm going to get a bunch of dumbbells. And my parents' 55 and older gym, all they have is they have the cable machines, they have light dumbbells, and then they have the resistance bands. Someone told me resistance bands are great, so I started doing the resistance bands. I'm like, oh, this is actually a great workout. I've never done them before because it always seems like a physical therapy thing or just extremely soft. So I told my mom, I was like, this resistance band thing is great. I was about to buy those adjustable dumbbells, like $500. You can get resistance bands for $20. And my mom goes, also, I saw from this doctor, they recommended for people over 75 to use resistance bands to work out because it's good for your joints. And I'm like,
okay,
that doesn't feel good to a 43-year-old. You're like, oh, gerontologists recommend this, so I think you should do it. I'm like, I don't even have any body aches. What are we talking about?
That happened so many times to me this past week with my parents visiting that if they quickly agree with something I say, oh no, that's a problem. Yeah. That's a problem. If I'm like, hey, you know what I could go for right now? Some gelato. And they're like, we love gelato. And I'm like, oh, son of a bitch.
I should have said ice cream.
I got to go back to the drawing board. Yeah.
Can you hear my dog squeaking his hedgehog?
Yeah, I thought it was a baby playing with a toy at first.
Let me get it.
Yeah, well, I've seen dogs before, but okay.
He took it under the bed.
Oh, what a dog. That's just a dog being a dog.
All right, we'll continue. Let me know if you hear it again. Maybe it'll be a fun thing for listeners. I doubt
it's fun right now, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, here's the other thing in the gym. My uncle Ronnie, one of my favorite people in the world.
The guy that likes to play war?
Yes. He's
special
needs and stuff. And he asked me to help him set up his hearing aids to his phone, so that everything plays straight into his hearing aids. So we did that. And we're at the gym. He's on the treadmill. And he is just singing along at the top of his lungs as if
sweet guy,
as if we can all hear it. And he keeps turning to Rachel and commenting about the lyrics and the songs, like as if she can hear it. And she's like, yeah, Ronnie, great song. She's like, I have no idea what he's singing, no idea what he's talking about.
That's awesome. What a great position for her to be in. Because after one or two, you just kind of like you simultaneously run out of things to say and stop giving a shit at all about like what anybody else could possibly think.
Yeah.
So you're just like more and more amped. Like you start dancing. Oh, yeah, I'm getting into it. He's like, no, you're dancing. It's not that style. You're not dancing the right way.
It's the lambada, the forbidden dance.
She's like, oh God, got me. But you can't really get busted in that situation. It's great.
Are your parents visiting?
Dude, they left today. I find that as much as I love my parents, and I love my parents, but the day that they leave a visit is just always the best fucking day.
Yeah, why is
the
that?
Day. I mean, there are a bunch of reasons, I guess, but really just like, hey man, it was a good visit. She talked about my cousin's, like my cuckolded cousin getting divorced about 17 times, making the same argument every time. And, I feel like we're just batting 1,000 here at the Cobb house.
In case people aren't familiar with this story.
Well, I mean, there's just more layers every other day that come in. My uncle came in to visit my folks and he he had a whole bunch of new intel, but basically, a few years ago, my cousin's wife left him for his best friend and partner, and they still work in the same office. They're surgeons, and apparently, through a little bit of exposition that I just got, the affair had been going back about 5 years. So it's a case where like the people who were going through it are already over it. They're past it. They're way beyond. But those same people did not tell anyone else until 3-4 years in. So it's like hot off the press to them.
Yeah.
So you're getting these questions about something that happened 4 years ago. And that's what they're having to deal with. I don't ask them any questions, but it's just what I think is so hilarious is that they still work in the same office. And apparently his, I guess, ex-best friend and his ex-wife's husband still tries to bullshit with him about sports and stuff. Still tries to make small talk, like in the hallway. Like
he works there too.
They both work in the same complex, if you will, same building. And
how is this not pitched as a sitcom,
dude? The fact that he still tries to like talk to him about like how the Pacers are doing, are they going to make the NBA Cup this year? Is Flacco going to start? Is he going to go back to quarterbacking again? And then my cousin's like, "You still fucking my wife?" Yeah. But what do you think about Flacco? I mean,
oh my God.
So anytime I talk to my parents, there's always some, sometimes there's an update. A lot of times it's just like, here's the same information you've heard for the fourth or fifth time. But her story has gotten just more and more polished. She's really gotten her narrative is great. What she's pushing out there. What's that?
No fat in the story anymore.
No, it's lean. It's a short story at this point. It's not Stephen King or Hirakami or something like that. But
I remember that she thought like they're going to get back together. This is a farce. Is it kind of what she thought? And everyone was like, "What are you talking about? They're not going to get back together."
She just is so steadfast in defending her family, which isn't hard to do in this case. Yeah. But Amy and I are always like, "Look, she's probably unhappy." I mean, I'm saying the most obvious thing in the world. Like, she's probably unhappy for whatever reason. She doesn't just do this out of the fucking blue,
right?
But she won't hear it. It's just she's just a staunch defender of the Cobb clan. I told you about the other cousin who has already had a divorce, and 3 times my mom has tried to like put it by me in conversation. Like, I can't believe they got divorced. And I pounded the table last time and I was like, "Mom, he called me 2 days ago. He's blaring Led Zeppelin in the background. He's ecstatic to not be married anymore." They argued for 17 years. And 17 years ago, they each told me independently that they wanted to be with other people. So I'm pretty sure he's happy now. But she does not want to hear it. It's like she's just embracing the narrative so close to her. She doesn't want to hear anything.
I conflated these stories in my mind and thought it was the same one. I was thinking that they already hated each other and then she was having an affair with the other surgeon.
Dude, that could be true.
Either way, the fact that it's surgeons who worked together, just it makes it so much better.
Yeah, pass me the scalpel. Are you still fucking my wife? Yeah,
I know,
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Like, if they're working on the same operation, they should have to divulge that to the patient, right? So, and you should be like, "No, I'll just let a nurse do it then." If you all are going to get competitive in here about it, I don't think I want this.
They're like, "Well, do you have any other surgeons around here that you can recommend?" Fuck no. There's not a single other surgeon that I would recommend. So that's one reason, because I got that story a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. Another reason, we went down to the Field Museum in downtown Chicago. Mm-hmm. Or I don't know if it's downtown. It's in Chicago. And there were a lot of rednecks there that day, which is just weird. Then I found out later on it's free day. Wednesday's like free day for folks that live in Illinois, and hence the rednecks,
Yeah.
And redneck loners, because they don't have anything better to do the night before Thanksgiving. So that was fun.
There's a botanical garden that I go to like almost weekly, and I've been going there for probably 8 years before I discovered that one day a month is free. And I went there on this particular day, and I was like, "It's loud at the garden. What's happening?" And then I found out it was free day. All the loud people come. It's like, were you yelling at flowers? What? Relax, man.
Grow,
The whole point
bitch.
of this is it's relaxing.
The other thing is, and I don't, I know it's early on in the podcast, but it's dark here, so I'm going to talk about it. Is that when my parents are visiting in my home, I can't have sex. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. And when I was 17 with my first girlfriend, not a problem. It was not a problem when I was 17. But now I can't.
I mean, perfectly reasonable.
Is it?
Yes.
I feel like I should be past that emotionally. I should be able to, but it just dries up. I have no desire. It's just like a cyborg. I can't do it when they're here.
I think it makes perfect sense. Like if you have visitors at all and there's any sort of like, they're right there.
Yeah, but you can work that into a game. You can be like, this is like an old school bed and breakfast kind of sex where like there are people nearby and you got to be really quiet. You can do that, but
you have kids, so this is like a normal thing for you.
We can. The kids are in bed. It's different. It's different. But my parents are also like down the hall. I don't know. I just don't.
No. What I'm saying is like you're used to this, like having to keep, okay, there's people in the house, but let's, just be discreet.
Proceed with caution. And yet I don't know. So maybe that's another reason why it's a good day. Like they're off. We had a good visit. Let's not complicate things by going any further.
Hey, do you want to do a new segment?
Yeah, of course.
It's multifaceted. One half of it is you talk a little closer, like toward the mic, in the direction of the microphone. That's you don't even have to get closer to it, but just talk in the direction of it. Because half the time you're doing this, and
because I'm looking at your eyes.
Oh, perfect. It's a segment called what's that link that you pasted onto the podcast setup thing? It's a segment where I click on a link that I posted here at some point to talk about, and we find out what's that link.
Oh, I want to. Ooh, man! If we only had a little bit of music to go with this.
Okay. Well, how is this real? Okay. This is from Slate. Okay. The headline, this is like it's a thing. I don't know what you call it. The doctor revealed why we weren't getting pregnant. I feel like a complete idiot. That's the headline, right? Okay. And this is, okay. So it's it's like an advice column for, I guess, relationship.
What does Marilyn say?
Stuff. It's called, How to Do It is what it's called. Dear How to Do It. I'm a 30-year-old guy, and I've been married to my wife for a little over 4 years. We've been trying for a baby and went almost a year with no luck. We went to a fertility clinic to see what was wrong. And well, that's when the problem started. We're not from the US, and sex education in our country was pretty basic. What I got drilled into my head over and over was always wear a condom or you'll catch a horrible disease. I was a good kid who didn't want trouble, so I always wore a condom. And what can you tell where this is going?
But I like how you just said that. Okay.
In what was probably only a few minutes, but some of the longest of my life, the doctor at the clinic explained how condoms actually function, and then we'd been failing to get my wife pregnant because I was wearing a condom while we did it.
Stop it.
The solution is simple. Stop wearing condoms when having sex. I've never felt like more of an idiot than when walking out of that office.
Oh, wait. Okay. So you're asking me, so they're 26?
It's also like, what's your question?
Or 30 or 20? How old were they?
30, married for 4 years.
Okay. So she also did not know this.
Yeah. So I'd only read the highlighted part at the beginning where it was like the solution was to stop wearing a condom, then we could get pregnant. I didn't realize this background stuff. When I started reading it to you just now, I was like, Mormon and homeschooled? I was thinking something like that. Like, just
They
some
said different
super
country though, right?
sheltered. And then I see different country, and I'm like, maybe Middle East. But then I'm thinking, like, a little. I would say there's a little bit more humility there, where I don't think that they would broadcast this.
Yeah, I don't think that they would air that particular kind of laundry. It's
Yeah.
hard for me to believe that. It's hard for me to believe any of it. I don't know that I believe any of it at all. I mean, you want to believe anyone who's like the egg on the face guy, who's like, well, he was brave just to write in, and he's so humble and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it seems like just like the most rudimentary understanding of physics possible. that
Right.
if you're
It's not even
throwing
like
a tennis ball
microbiology.
against a wall
Yeah.
and you have a friend on the other side of that wall waiting for it to get to them.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the hell? Why is it not getting to Craig? And then you don't realize that there's a big fucking wall there. I don't understand how it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't
Right.
education, like, doesn't anyone know this? Like, do you not know that what is coming out is integral to the process, or do you
It's
just
like
think the
saying,
friction
why
is?
can't I breathe while I have a bag over my head? I don't understand this. Like,
staggering.
did they? I mean, they had to have understood that sperm is what gets someone pregnant, right? And then known.
Clearly, they didn't.
They thought it was the act. They thought it was friction.
That I'm guessing. I mean, they had to have. Otherwise, they would have just through process of elimination figured out what the problem was. I mean, what else did they think that was? Like, just like a celebration after the fact?
I want to know what. Right. It was just
what is this for? What's in here? God, that's crazy.
I need to know where they're from.
Goodness, it's the other part is that it's one of those things where I want to be like, hey, I'm a comic, you're a comic. I want to tell you that could be a funny premise for a bit, but no one would believe it.
No one would.
People wouldn't believe it. It's kind of like earlier today, I came up with something. My first reaction was just a hack joke. I saw like the bumper sticker on the back of a car. It's like, God is my co-pilot. And the first thing I thought of, it's like, then why are you going 20 miles under the fucking speed limit? If God really is your co-pilot, can't you just like, drive with a heavy foot? And then I admonished myself for 20 minutes about having such a lame joke attached to that.
It's like the other bumper sticker of it'll have like Dale Earnhardt, and it'll say God needed a driver. And then the obvious joke is, don't you think he would pick someone who didn't die in a car crash? I don't know.
I still
Michael
like
Schumacher
it. I don't
or something.
care.
It's very funny.
I guess I'm not doing enough shows, but because I still enjoyed my reaction to that and then felt bad about it later. It's just that self-criticism, that damn self-criticism.
Well, oh my gosh. Can I tell the story?
Yeah, man, please.
I think I can.
Let me scratch out this on my notepad. God is my co-pilot. Winner. It's a winner. I'm putting it in the next act. New special, guys, coming up. This is what it's going to be called.
No one we work with listens to this, right?
I don't think anybody listens to this. Why do you think I told the cousin story? You think I'm fucking around with that? I'm not editing out, but I'm not exactly cutting it for the promo either.
So about 10 years ago at work, a coworker, very nice person who would always bring baked goods into the office, brought in a cake for 9/11. It was He's joking. Not even there yet. It was heart-shaped with an American flag on the top. Okay?
Okay.
And then after you finish the cake, underneath it, there was a sheet of paper. First of all, there was a standoff because normally when she brings something in, people are just going for it immediately because it was so delicious. But no one wants to be the first person to get a slice of the 9/11 cake.
Then I know. Yeah.
Everyone was talking about it like, this is insane. And
no one wanted to say anything?
No, no, because it was like she did a nice thing for us. It just was so inappropriate. And so eventually people started taking slices. And then we discovered that underneath the cake, there was a sheet of paper that said, "Gone but not forgotten." So
Wow,
it was a
man.
play on 9/11 and the cake.
And
However, however, never forget is the phrase for 9/11. Gone but not forgotten is the Dale Earnhardt phrase. So it was just like there was something to laugh hysterically about every couple hours that day.
but yeah, you can't, like, when you bring it up to her and say thanks for the cake, like, clearly did she lose somebody in 9/11? Like,
No, I don't think so. I think it was just like I think it was just an obliviousness. I mean, I think a lot of people on the West Coast also just have a general obliviousness to, I mean, that event and most of the country and the world. I feel like everyone is in their own world.
yeah,
I mean, look, I love the West Coast because the weather is great and people are very nice and the food is great because everything's growing there. It is wild how aloof people are, though. Like, I bet if you were to go on the street in anywhere in the West Coast and say, "How many people do you know in the military?" Most
mm,
people will say 0 or 1.
right.
Anywhere else in the country, it's
Be like, oh
several.
man, all my brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like yeah. I, I, I mean, half the people I grew up with or and went to college to, if they weren't enlisted, they're at least they're working in that world in some way, or they have. You
Well,
know,
you're
they
also, I mean, you also grew
well,
up in Virginia, so I mean,
yeah,
that's a big
it's true.
part of
I
it
mean,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did grow up right out, next to the Pentagon.
No,
So
they're completely in a different world out there. Like they just, it's really like they have helmets on and just all new information bounces off unless it's from, Variety or whatever.
yeah,
They don't.
should we do this game? Where's the dumbest place in the country? We've we've toured all over.
I
We've
mean,
toured all over the U.S.
I haven't been there, but I'll start off by saying I've heard a lot of people say that Hawaii is, and I've never been there.
I've been to Hawaii several times, but I've never performed there, so I can't really say.
What
I
I've
performed with
usually
my
heard from people who perform there is it's really hard
yeah.
to do shows there because they're not. I don't, I don't know.
I
I don't
mean,
want to be mean, but
that
that's
that follows the West Coast thing. It's like the closer you live to paradise, the
right.
more aloof you are of everything. Meanwhile, I mean, look, I lived in New York for a long time, and I was just in Vietnam for a while this year, and I will say that it's pretty much the exact same standard of living, and people
Right.
in New York are on top of things.
Oh, they're on top of it. You can have a very educated, in-depth conversation with someone you randomly sat next to on a subway, and
Yeah,
it'll happen if you live there long enough. It'll happen again and again and again
yeah,
because you're just on the pulse.
yeah,
That's what I always loved about it. You're just on the pulse,
yeah.
and
I
everybody's on this. It's a very relevant place to live. Speaking of interested in stuff, when was the last time you watched Bloodsport?
watched it at least 10 years, thought about it yesterday.
Okay, so today I went down, got on the exercise
Today.
bike, went down on the exercise bike, was
Yeah.
flipping through like, what am I going to watch? Am I going to watch a virtual bike ride? No, 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 no. You know why? Because I can watch the Kumite tournament, and there's nothing worthy of watching in the first hour of Bloodsport, really. But you want a half hour bike ride, and it's like an hour and 28-minute movie. Go to minute 58 and then just watch the last 30. And what I realized is that Amy and I will always watch movies with closed caption on, right?
Hmm.
And with Bloodsport though, I'm starting to put on closed caption. I'm like, why? Why do I need closed
Yeah.
caption? But when I did turn it on, it, like, as awesome as the experience is of watching Bloodsport, it's 15% better with closed captioning
Really?
because It's all like, sometimes closed
Wait a minute.
captioning is,
Wait a minute. You have volume and closed captioning.
yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So like the whole thing is in parentheses. Like when
Yeah.
you have closed caption parentheses, that's like inaudible whispering,
Yeah.
inaudible yelling, inaudible bargaining for tickets, whatever it is. It happens occasionally in other movies. That is the entire movie. That's all the closed caption.
Hilarious.
That's
I was
all it
just
is.
sometimes they'll pick up like background conversations. You ever had that in closed captioning?
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's like the middle of this dialogue scene, and then they'll throw in the person walking by who says, "How much for the evening edition?" It's like,
There
man,
was
if you were
background.
deaf, that would really throw you for a loop.
There was background, but it was the top, there were two or three lines. The top line was inaudible whispering by Jean-Claude Van Damme, and beneath that, hawk scream because there's a hawk in the background.
I know what you're talking about.
It'd be like closed caption, ouch, and then underneath it's like falcon cry. Man, that's as fun of a movie. It just checks every damn box,
Oh man.
and I just learned a way to make it better. And the very few things that aren't in parentheses, that aren't like groveling, is is just the most cliched. Like you're next. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh
I
man.
love it.
It's one of the best movies ever, and Rachel's never seen it. How great would it be? Like, I should see if I could rent out a movie theater, take Rachel there, get her favorite food and drink, and make her think it's the night of her dreams, and then Bloodsport comes on the screen.
Yeah, like you got like Pretty in Pink, and you got, what was his name? Was it John Hughes? I get him for a
Yeah, yeah.
Q&A, and then surprise, it's just the last 28 minutes.
Of the Bloodsport,
Bloodsport.
but we have the theater for 3 hours, so we can watch it over and over. So,
What
dude,
this guy I know rented a theater in Burbank, rented a screen to air to show original Ghostbusters, and it was fucking awesome. It was
Rachel did
awesome.
it for Empire Strikes Back for me. We had a
That's
private. Yeah, we
See,
have a
now I want to do it for like Pelican Brief.
yeah. just to get the conversation going at the movie theater. Everyone who works there who's like, yeah, I don't know. It's almost like the joke on the British Office where Gareth's favorite band is Mike and the Mechanics. And they're
Okay.
like, whose favorite band is Mike and the Mechanics? It's almost like that. Like, whose favorite movie is The Pelican Brief?
What fifth tier movie?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
hear a funny joke? If
No, I
anyone
rented
says-
this screen for Biodome. Everybody, come on by.
A funny joke is if someone ever says, "Hey, have you read that John Grisham book?" Blah blah blah. You go, "What's it about?" Because they're all about the same thing. So, dude, we actually were talking about Bloodsport today because the phrase came up. My mom said, "Oh, that's when Oak's my Vietnamese brother." He was like, "That's when he was going through the phase of jump kicking people." So when he came to the States, 7th grade, and he was bullied at first until a couple people caught heels to the jaw. So we would watch Bloodsport and Kickboxer at home all the time. And he did this kick. I can't remember if Van Damme does it in Bloodsport or if it's one. But anyway, that's what we always relate it to. But it's basically the Liu Kang kick. Oh, it's in Big Trouble in Little China, actually. Now,
Okay, which
I can't. Basically, the Liu Kang Mortal Kombat kick, the flying jump kick.
uh-huh.
Oak used to do that with perfect form. He was 5 feet tall, but could grab the rim with both hands.
Wait,
like freak vertical.
So when he came to your family, how old was he?
13.
Oh, wow. Okay. So he had this like martial arts knowledge coming into the family.
But just from watching movies. He
Oh, damn. Okay.
he had no, but I mean, just freak athleticism. So
Did he
the
land a
first,
couple of kicks on bullies?
oh, dude. So somehow he did a kick. I mean, not a flying kick, but on the bus, someone's bullying him. He's tiny, right? So someone's picking on him, and he goes like a chin music, just you know. And then that guy, you know, doesn't mess with him again. Another time at school, they would switch classes outside, and this kid who was like 200 some pounds messes with my brother. My brother's like maybe 100 pounds,
What a
and
dick.
Oak gives
God.
him the flying kick to the face and busts his nose open. And the principal calls my mom, is like, look, I'm supposed to suspend him, but I know this kid was bullying him, so he just tell Oak not to do it again. And my mom
Tell
tells
not to
Oak,
fly.
and he didn't speak English when he arrived, so everything was like dictionary to just back and forth. He
Wow.
goes through the dictionary to translate to my mom the sentence, "I won't have to do it again."
That is awesome.
Isn't that the best?
I'm not exaggerating. That is what a stud, man. That's
I
fucking
know.
awesome.
I won't have to do it again. He did it twice in soccer games too. What? Or one was after a game. They're shaking hands and someone spit on him, and then they start going away. And he goes, "Hey!" And the guy turns around and jump kick to the face. And another
That's
time, a brawl broke out in a game, and he comes across with a jump kick.
dude, he got his 10,000 hours. That's a jump kick to the face. I did see one. First off, you never in high school, all the fights that you saw in high school, you saw a lot of hair pulling and you
Mm-hmm.
saw a lot of like rolling around on the ground. You really very, very rarely saw like a punch to the face that was clean that actually made contact.
No,
Like very, very rarely. And you never saw a kick
no,
that actually did, like most kicks. A kick seems to be like it either does absolutely nothing but
yeah,
makes them laugh, or it knocks them down and you're immediately Spider-Man.
right.
That's what it's. But I did see a dude in 7th grade who had been picked on, goes up to this guy named Chris Ragland. I guess he played football or he was really big. And during class, he went over to him and spat in his face. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what better way, because again, he wasn't perfect English, right? So I don't know what better way to say without saying, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not stuck in here with you, you're stuck in here with me,
Yeah.
than spitting in someone's face during class, the teacher's in the
Oh,
room. Oh, man, it's
so what
badass.
happens after that?
Nothing, dude. From what I know, he never did a thing. Dude never did a thing. He just got spat on
Man, dude,
in Spanish.
my high school was known for like okay, it was called the sort of moniker or whatever, School of Champions, because like a bunch of Olympians had been there, or not a bunch, but a few Olympians, and like they won a lot of state championships. But people jokingly called it the School of Fighting Champions because
Mm,
apparently there were a lot of fights. I saw one in 4 years, and it wasn't even a real fight. It was like you described. It just someone gets pushed, and then it's a headlock until someone comes.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm same. Mine that the one I was talking about is all the ones I saw were junior high. And my brother would talk. My brother's 4 years older than me. He would talk, but just wait till you get to high school. You're going to see tons of stuff. And I mean, I'm not a violent dude, but he'd be like, "Man, he's curb stomping." I'm like, "Jesus
Curb
Christ!"
stomping.
And I didn't see a thing. I barely heard people disagree in high school, but
Yeah.
junior high, it was always some shit.
It makes
Always.
sense. That's when people are out of their minds. Is
This
is
is.
middle school, seventh
I'm
grade
only going to say this
specifically.
because nobody's going to listen to this, but the deaf kids who had been held back like 3 years in junior high. Oh God, dude, those kids you stayed the fuck away from. You did
Really?
not. Yeah, dude. People call them the deaf boxing league. They they were all 3 years older than you, 4 years older than you,
Mhm.
and would come up and be like asking for money from the concession stand, and like, oh, you just gave them the money. I think one time I told them I'd write him a check. I'm like, I'm not. I'm not. Those guys would kick your fucking ass because they
Just out
just
of the blue, just bullies.
I mean, yeah, I
Wow.
guess.
I mean, that talk about flipping the paradigm there.
Oh
You
yeah, dude. Nobody messed with them. I don't.
you can't even complain. You're like, yeah, that you feel like a bully for
Yeah,
complaining about getting beat up.
yeah. The deaf kids beat me up. It's like, sure they did, Ryan.
Yeah.
Sure, right? Why don't you
Oh,
just give them $1 for a
you
blow
ganging
pop?
up on the deaf kids now?
Right.
Trying to get the deaf kids in trouble? No,
You know
they.
that dude's failed 3 years in a row. Now you're gonna make fun of him for it? Okay. Yeah. God,
Oh
those
man.
kids. Hopefully they're not gonna listen to this.
Do you have a hypothetical for me?
Yeah, I've got a new kind of one. I've got one real one and one I want to. I'm thinking about movie hypotheticals that are based on movies because sometimes you'll see a movie, good or not, it naturally just comes up with a hypothetical, right?
Okay.
But first, I'm going to ask you the other. The other one is really straightforward. Somebody comes up to you, very official person who just knows everything,
Hmm.
and they say, "Look, Ryan, you can either live for another 25 years or another 150 years, and you will live the 150 years.
Hmm.
Which one are you going to do?" But you'll age. It's not as if like you're going to be
Wait a minute.
in your body now.
Wait a minute. The question is, do you want to live 25 years or 150 years?
Yep. You can live to be whatever it is. What
193.
70 or 100? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You'll
You're.
age. You'll top out. You'll plateau at like 80. So you'll be 80 for another, 100 and some odd years.
I mean, I go the extra 150. Absolutely.
You would?
Oh my.
Really?
Especially if you say I would have the dexterity of an 80-year-old. When I was a kid, I thought 80 was ancient, but I mean, I have an uncle who, what is he, 83, 84, plays tennis 5 days a week.
So you'd have no problem knowing. It's not like you can tell people. You have no problem in knowing like everyone I know will be long gone, and I'm just gonna keep living.
It is weird. It is weird to be. Oh no, most of my friends died 120 years ago.
Still getting over your girlfriend? Yep. From 100 years ago, I am. God, break my heart. Can't get over it. Cannot get over it.
It might be lonely.
Don't worry, I'm 80. I'm gonna wait until that hot 50-year-old grows to be 80. I'll still be 80. I'll still get to be 80. Yeah. You'd have to move around to different hospices. That'd be tricky.
And
You'd
I
have to,
still do it, man. I think it sounds great. I mean, look, 150. So it'd be 193, right? Let's just look at this from the context of American history. If you're born 25 years before the Civil War, you would have just died now.
mm-hmm.
No, we're talking about 190 something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you
well, actually,
act
that would be
like
about it. That would
seeing
be
all
about
this
right.
stuff makes people happy. Like that's not typically what happens. Generally, the more
You're right.
change people sees, the angrier they get. It's kind of like, and
You're
this is
right.
not the movie hypothetical I was thinking of, but it's kind of like Cocoon, where it's about all of these old people, and they're given the opportunity to like say fuck it and go with these aliens and just go like traverse the universe. But one of their friends is like, it's not right. I'm gonna stay here, and they're like, well, you'll die. I'm like, yeah, I'll die. And then these old people have to tell their grandkids, like, yeah, Wilford Brimley. Literally, there's a scene where he's fishing with his grandson. Like, yeah, well, I'm never gonna see you again. How come? Are you dying? He's like, no, hell no, I'm going off with the aliens.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, I would. You can't say no to going off with the aliens, like,
Yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide kind of stuff. But you are screwing over people.
Look, here's the way I see it with this another 150 years. I mean, you could literally do everything you ever want to do in the world in that amount of time.
Yeah, but alone.
It doesn't
At
have to be
some point,
alone.
you're going to get tired of making friends.
Why is it alone though?
If you're
I
140, I think you're tapped out on conversation. You don't need to have
Not this
another.
guy. Look, if I know I'm going to be alive for another 54 years, 53 years, I'm talking to people.
Really? No problem?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we got to get a conversation going.
Yeah, you can. You're just having that conversation so you can bring up how you bought your house 120 years ago and how much it's appreciated. You can have that. All right,
I bought
here's
it
my movie.
120 years ago for only $3 million.
Here's my legit movie hypothetical. It's a shit movie. It's got Emile Hirsch in it and an actress. I actually like Emile Hirsch and an actress that I also like, but I forget her name right now. It's called The Immaculate Room. It's not a particularly good movie, but it is a good hypothetical where they win the chance to possibly win 5 million. And they are in this huge kind of dome shaped room.
Mhm.
And they just two of them. They can't leave. They got to stay for 50 days. 50 days. There's a nice bed there, and they're fed kind of like a smoothie a couple of times a day. They're told when to go to bed, told when to wake up. They don't have any natural light. There is a bathroom there. They cannot bring anything with them. No books, no movies, no podcast, not even a pencil. They just last 50 days, right?
Mhm.
So, do you think you could do it if you and Rachel are in the Immaculate Room? Would you even bother?
Do you think we could? Are you saying? Do you think we could survive 50 days?
Could you last? Because it's the movie is
Last in what
the
way?
reason that the movie sucks is because the whole the whole battle is a battle against boredom. It's like, how do they deal with boredom? That's why the movie is not that interesting.
Yeah.
But do you think you could deal with a plain room,
Uh
an
huh.
empty shell, like basically an office that everyone moved out of, and you're there, and you're just there for 50 days
Uh huh.
for split 5 million?
Yeah. Why? Why not? What's the problem?
Yeah, I think no. I think no problem. I'm glad you answered this way because I asked my dad. He's like, I couldn't last 2 hours. I'm too hyper. My mom, no, I couldn't do it. Amy, no, I couldn't do it. I'm like, just give me 5 minutes notice.
It sounds ideal. Yeah, that
Yes,
sounds perfect.
50. Like I'll quit my job and I'll go get 5 million. Right?
50 days?
Yeah. I
You
felt
could tell me
silly
there's no
even posing the
toilet, and I would
question
just.
because it's so obvious.
Yeah. What are we talking about? What? What?
You
Who for
meditate, you
whom?
do a whole lot of sit-ups, and then like you write a new special in your head.
Yeah, this sounds like the concept. You remember that movie, whatever it was called, where it was like a 19-year-old boy, and he's like, I'm gonna go 30 days without having sex, and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
I
God, he
mean,
was just
it
in the new
just,
M. Night Shyamalan.
yeah, every other teenager hates you. Um,
How can he do it?
how could he do it? Oh, is he somewhat shy? Because that's what the rest of us are.
And then we
Um,
find out that he has a superpower because he gets this woman to have an orgasm without even touching her. It's like,
didn't even
okay,
know
fuck
that.
off. That's
What
what
an
you.
idiot.
That's the
Yeah,
twist.
this immaculate room thing. I mean, look, I'd rather I could bring, music and books, but still, 50 days, I'm fine. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't see what the
It's not
problem
a
is.
problem.
I don't even see what the problem is in the movie when they tried to make it weird. Like she was from a poor family. She really needed the money. He was from a wealthy one. He didn't really need the money as much. And then he walks. And the rule is like if one of them walks, that the prize money goes down to 1 million. So she
Yeah.
tries to get him to stay. He doesn't do anything. He just leaves.
Who would
And then
walk?
they skip, to like 3 years later, and they bump into each other on the street, and she's totally cool with him. And I'm like, that dude fucking cost you. If you were going to get 2.5 million, he cost you 1.5 million, and you're actually going to speak to him.
I thought you said cost 1 million off
No,
the
no, no. Okay,
five.
so they would get 5 million if both of them completed the 50 days. If one of them
Oh,
walks
I
and only
see.
one completes it, they get 1 million.
I
So
see.
if you're going to say she was
Oh,
going to get 2.5, she lost 1.5 million, and she just like
yeah.
walks politely with him. It's why can you not last 50 days? Like who
50
would
days.
not?
50 days is nothing, man.
99.9999% of the population would do it.
Dude, sign me up. Honestly, if anyone wants to finance this, I'm in, man. I'll do it right now.
With anyone, right? It wouldn't have to be Rachel. Literally,
Dude, anyone. I mean, literally anyone off the streets, as long as they're not psychotic.
right? I
Yeah,
this is the See,
wouldn't
I
bother me.
thought that it was too easy to ask, but everybody I was asking was like, no, there's no way I could do it. I'm like, what do you mean? If your basic needs are taken care of?
It's just like those things where people are like, could you go a year without your cell phone? Could you go a month without? I'm like, Yes, I could go the rest of my life without it. I have it because I have to have it.
Yeah.
I would love not needing it.
And you wouldn't have it in the Immaculate Room. You would literally, if you got
Dude.
5 minutes
Oh,
notice to do this, that's
it's a
probably the only
dream.
part of the question that's any difficult at all. Is, can you be prepped in 5 minutes? Yes, I can.
It's like if I was retired, the first thing I would do is cancel all my social media
Yeah.
accounts. I mean,
I would
shut it all down.
write an email quitting my job and then walk into the Immaculate Room and tell my wife, like, I'll see you in 50 days and we'll have 5 million.
Yeah. Done.
Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
great. You want to play Rank Them before we get out of
please. Bring it on.
You can't change the quirk or trait, the love of your life or the person you date. No hiding it or loopholes to escape. Time to list them, then debate. Rank them, a game of luck. Rank them, they all suck. Rank them, 1, 2, or 3. You pick that, whoa, crazy. Rank them, rank them, rank them. Oh, 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 rank them.
Number 1, absolutely ruins the bathroom for 2 hours every time they're there. You cannot go to the bathroom for at least 2 hours.
Okay. All right.
It is destruction.
Now,
Okay?
do they try to mitigate that a little bit with candles and such, and it just doesn't matter?
Nope. It's just dead. It's done. Okay?
Okay, but I'm just trying to, like, do they understand what they're doing and they try, but they're just throw up their hands like there's nothing I can do?
There's nothing I can do. The next 2 hours, you can't go in there, or you will, like, your insides will come out.
Okay. All right.
Number 2, anytime you're in a restaurant, yells her order, not in a rude way, just like can't control the modulation, I guess.
So what my son does. Okay.
Yeah, just top of her lungs, just pork. Whatever.
Sure. Okay.
Number 3, insist on listening to your least favorite comic every time you're in the car.
Oh,
You gotta listen to an entire
brutal.
album. Your least favorite comic, and it's not to spite you. It's just her favorite, and
even though I don't like
comedy.
them even personally, like I dislike them personally as well.
No, I think they're comedy, not them as a person.
Okay, so if that's 3 and 2 is the yelling the order, and this is maybe your toughest one you've ever given me. I'm gonna say that 3 is the worst. So I would. That's the
least
worst.
favorite
Is
comic?
listening to my least favorite comic.
That's last.
Yeah. I mean, but it is only a problem if we're driving together. But that's all the time. That's probably the worst. No. Yelling the order is the worst. Because I can't handle that kind of stuff in a public space. And I have to all the time. But with kids, like, it's always like, hey, that's fucking asshole here, But that's the worst.
Yeah.
Then is the comic, and then is the blowing up the bathroom. Blowing up the bathroom
yells order is 3rd, and then the comic, and then the one that you would take is ruining the bathroom for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's the easiest of them.
See, I have a problem with that. Well, like, if you have GI issues, whatever, it's fine. It's fine. You can't be mad at that. But, 15 minutes is one thing. 2 hours, I'm just picturing just like a Pepe Le Pew, just sort of this odor just creeping through the house, and you can't get it out. When people come over, they're just like, oh, they just want to gag, and you're used to it. And then you get self-conscious because you're used to it, and you're like, oh my God, do my clothes smell like this?
It's like going to a frat party in the 90s.
Yeah, so I can't put that number 1. I think. Oh man, I thought I was going to do yells the order first, and I can't do that.
That's terrible.
I think it's listen to least favorite comic.
Yeah, that's also terrible.
It's horrendous, but I think that's number 1. And then, ruins the bathroom or yells the order. Nope. redoing it. Yells at orders number 1. I'll tell you why. Because our friend Sean Green does this.
Wait, that's the
And-
worst?
No, that's my number 1. That's my
Okay,
pick.
all right.
Yeah, that's yells the order because Sean Green does it, and it's embarrassing at first. But then I asked him about. I was like, you yell your orders, and he goes, yeah. Sometimes servers can't hear me, so I just because I'm kind of quiet, so I just try to talk loud enough so they can hear me. I'm like, oh man, you're.
Didn't he have a bit about working at like a Bennigan's or something? Didn't he
I
work
don't
at
remember.
maybe it was a Jersey Mike's? So yeah, I mean, look, if anybody's worked
Jersey
in like
Mike's.
the service industry, like
Yeah.
I'll give it to him.
Or Quiznos.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's Quiznos.
What a great place to have on your resume. That's the best.
It was Quiznos.
Yeah.
So I'm going yells the order first, just because I like eating with Sean Green, and Sean Green yells his orders.
Okay.
Number 2 is going to be. Oh man! Now I'm realizing I have 2 bathrooms.
Yeah, that's why I did. That's why. Yeah. I can always just hang out in the kids' bathroom.
But 2 hours. I think. No, I'm gonna do least favorite comic next, and then ruins the bathroom last, just because in public, if you're together and you're like holding the bathroom for someone,
Yeah, that's
it creeps into the restaurant.
I'm just gonna go down a rabbit hole for a while on this one. It would really suck in the Immaculate Room. That's when it would suck. If it's like, dude,
It's no longer immaculate.
you get because part of the movie was only one person could be in the bathroom at a time. It's like she goes in there, ruins it for 2 hours, and you're like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? And then you bail and lose
Man.
$4 million.
If anyone wants to do an immaculate room, I am in.
I'd sign me up, man.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I could do 100 days. Sign me
Yeah,
up.
I do 100 days for $1 million. You can
Sure.
you can take the money down.
You just quit over a text. You just quit your job over a text
I mean,
as you're
seriously,
walking in.
if I'm getting this as a lump sum, I'm relaxing, just investing all the money, keeping enough to eat,
Yeah.
just investing, just letting it accrue, letting it compile.
As soon as you walk out of those doors after 50 days, after the
Yeah.
there's a big clock on the wall. As soon as it ticks down to 0.00000, the money is in your account.
And
You'll have a
it's
lot of angry
no
text.
tax,
No
Yeah,
doubt.
I do 100 days for $1 million, easy.
Yeah. All right. That's what I'm talking
Easy.
about.
Let's do it.
That's why we're podcast partners. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know a benefactor. Thanks for the thanks for the pod, man. Thanks.
Hey, you got anything you want to promote before we get out of here?
Yeah, December 21st, the Comedyplex with our buddy Brendan Fitzgibbons. Yeah, it looks like it may sell out, although nobody's bought a ticket yet, so who knows? Still up in the air.
Yeah, they'll do it. You can check me out on the podcast Controverse Cobb. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Also have my book, The Party. Get it for people for Christmas or Hanukkah or any other thing that you buy books for. And then my specials on my website, or it's on like Prime and Tubi and stuff. It's called
Tubi
Live
is
from
the
DC.
shit.
What's that?
Tubi is the shit, by the way.
People love it.
What's not to love? I was
It's funny.
I was looking
If-
around at movies today, like before I did the bike, and I mean, I was like pretty thorough, and I think I'm pretty objective, and I'm like, by far and away, the best movies on any of these are on Tubi. They have the
Yeah.
most good movies.
It is the best. It is the best.
It's
Agreed.
remarkable. It really
Here's
is.
to Tubi.
Hey, anyone out there who runs into Ryan on the street, ask him for a rank them, because it's a great icebreaker.
Yeah, I'm in. I'll give them to you if you ask for them. And thanks again for listening, and we will see you next time.
Later.
Just a couple of guys palling around, coming out of your speakers, a beautiful sound. They debate, berate, and have a laugh or two. Connor v. Cobb, for me and for you.